Okay, welcome everybody. And we're up to Mem Rabbi Aleph on the bottom. I'm Rabbi Avrohom. I'm Rabbi Aleph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 minus 1. And the one that was talking about what makes everything possible by Paraduma. It talks about all here it says that it doesn't become possible until it pulls it. By Paraduma, it's possible even if the O was carried on it. Here it says has to actually pull. So to pull. Boy, I think the word boy should be spelled with the aleph. Boy, Rabbi Yochanan, Mashiach become. How much does he have to pull it? How much does he have to? How much egla the calf have to pull in order to become possible? As big as the O, as big as the pull, the yoke on it, the size of the O. Now that's not clear yet. The length of the O, which would mean from tip to tip, or the thickness of the O, which is very little. So Yaakov answered, I heard explicitly from Rabbi Yochanan, that the whole, that's the how much you have to pull it a tefach, which is the thickness of how much the whole is. Limit tefach. Why did he just say tefach? Why come you have to say the rochbo tefach and all the old tefach? This is to tell you that the standard size of a yoke is a tefach thick.
What are you measuring?
We're measuring how much the egla pulled the old in order to become puzzle, and it pulled a tefach, which is very little, the size of the thickness of the old. Why didn't he just say the shear is a tefach in order to tell you that that's what old is supposed to be? The mind of if somebody sold a old, he says I'm going to sell you an old, then he comes with something which is a half a tefach, so he says that's not an old. All has to be a tefach thing. New Gemara. And everything is a garata today almost. How come Hashem says by this person who was murdered, how come the kapara is to bring an egla benachal, a calf in a nachal? We said, I'm not sure, probably Machbus said yesterday that a nachal esan, it says that you should be oref benachal. What is a nachal? So most proportions say that it means a valley. It doesn't have to mean water. And the word nachal in many places in the Tanakh means a valley. Of course, when there's water, so then it becomes a kind of a river. But it could be a nachal, like it says, a city inside the nachal. And if you look on the map, so you'll see that there's a big valley over there. It's a valley. It doesn't have to be nachal with water. So some say, most proportions say that nachal, by it, they have to be oref, the egla by nachal is not with water. It has to do with a valley. But the a river. What's the definition
of wadi?
That's Arabic, I don't know. No.
What is usually
that is a valley. And it can be the same with the valley, when there's water, but there's no water. And you have the pasuk in both ways. So here's machlokas what the word nachal means. Okay, what are y'all Irish? It's not it's a valley. What are y'all Irish? It's not. That's what Machbus said. It's not one. By the what are y'all Irish? Nachal Mitzrayim. But Nachal Mitzrayim they call a place which is not a water. So how come Hashem said that it should be egla banachal? 2 points. Egla banachal. Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu Yov Divrei Davar Shelo Asaperos V'Yaro V'Yeyorev V'Mokom Sheino Asaperos. Both of these places don't produce. An egla means it's a calf, a young calf. It hasn't yet produced. It hasn't become a mother. And also, the nachal is a place where it doesn't produce. It's a nachal esan, like we say, it's going to be strong, kasha. He wasn't going to say soon that it means that land. It means, but it's a strong, a tough place that doesn't produce. So that's why that's the kapara of the person who was murdered is going to be in a nachal. There should be a kapara for them that wasn't allowed to produce. The more was what kind of produce is that? My parents. What do you mean that person was murdered? He wasn't able to produce. Produce what? It means he wasn't able to longer to produce children. If it's killed, the person was killed was an older man or someone who's sterile, can't have children. So then you say no, only if it was somebody who could have had children and was stopped short, but he wasn't able to. No, it doesn't mean that other mitzvahs. He wasn't able to produce mitzvahs. There's another kind of a produce that a person does, that he does mitzvahs. And a person was killed before his time. He wasn't able to produce mitzvahs. So the kapara is going to be in a egg from an egla of a nachal. The egg that was produced, and the nachal doesn't produce. Wasn't let to produce what he could produce. Bottom line, when we say nachal esan, what does esan mean? The word esan means. So we're saying most Mepharshim say that nachal is a valley and a strong valley. It means that it's a and it's not able to produce. How do you know that esan means strong? Shenama, Rabbi Stup Sukim. That's a Parshas Balak where Bilam talks your place where you settled is Esan. Esan is like a cellar. Simba Salakinacha, you put your nest in a boulder, strong place, you see the word Esan is strong. The Omer Pasuk and Micha, Shimu Harim, Mesriba, and Esan, the Yoretz, mountains. Here the contention Hashem is coming to argue with you, debate, and the Esanim, the foundations of the world. So you see that Esan also has something to do with a mountain, foundation, a strong place. So that's one shot at the word means kasha. But someone argue, that Esan means old. It's a nation which is Esan, which was from always. So you see, but Esan does not mean antique, old. So everyone is learning it from the word, from the other words in that. What does it mean? Does it mean new from the rest of the pasuk? The old or strong. Simba Salakinach, see, it has to do with strength. And Esan and most of the Yoris has to do with strength. But this pasuk, Goy Esanu, you can also say that it means strong. But the more saying no, since it says that in the same pasuk, Goy Me'olamu, it's a nation from ever, from a long time. So that's what the word Esan also means old. So according to this, what does the word old mean? That the place should be an old Nachal. What does that mean? So Rashi says that they shouldn't have brought earth from someplace else. It shouldn't have, the earth that they have, and this shouldn't have been brought from someplace else. It should be the natural earth that was there. Or so what do? You bring a calf and they chop off its head from behind. Often also for kopitz. A kopitz is like kind of an axe. They chop off the calf's head behind. My time, how do you know it's from behind? So you might say the word orif means the back of the head. But the one says that you have to have a drasha to say that the arifa, the act of arifa means cutting it from the behind. Arifa mechatasel. Mechatasel over there it says mimul arpo. Over there it says mimul arpo. So we know that it means that the back of the head. So too over here also, that's the place where you cut off the head of the calf from the back of the head. So the pasuk says that Asher lo yeyoved go below Yizoreya. The place, the Nachal Esan, it says that it's not supposed to be planted, worked on. So what does that mean? Does it mean in the future or does it mean in the past? So the Gemara is going to say everybody holds that it means from now on. From now on, you're not allowed, this place which they made the Egla Rufa, that land over there, you're not allowed to till, you're not allowed to plant. The question is if it means all that has to be a place not ever yet tilled. The place the Nachal should be not worked upon, tilled, and not planted. Tilled. After the Egla Rufa was done. The Gemara explains, everybody agrees that you're not allowed to do from now on. That's not my focus. First round, the pasuk is that from now on you're not allowed to till the soil over there, you're not allowed to use it for your own purposes, like we're going to see soon. But the question is, does it also have to be a place which was never used yet? That also has to be l'shor. The question of the gears over here, but just to read the words, there's some nuance in the pasuk. Miksiv below Yubad, maybe different gears over here. So there's a nuance either way. It doesn't say the regular way. So on one hand, the Yoshi says that mashma also in the past. The Rabbanan says it only means in the future. Yoshi's main drasha seems it could have that it never was yet tilled. You have to go to a place which was never tilled or sown. And Rabbi Yonasan, Asher Ribuyu, he used the word for something else. We're going to see soon that the word Asher is coming to be marba, only planting, other things also, like the Gemara to say in a few lines. So he holds that this word is not an extra drasha. So it comes out, everybody holds that the place where they did the Egla Rufa from now on, after the Egla Rufa was done, this ceremony, whatever you want to call it, this ritual, I'm not sure, this whole process, the process of the Egla Rufa, once it was done, then you're not allowed to plant the place anymore, do any other avoda. But does it have to be a place which was never used yet before they do the egla rufa? Machlokes, and we pass on like a Anderson, that it's like our Mishnah only in the future, but it doesn't have to be such kind of a place. It could be a place which has been tilled prior, but once they did the egla rufa, now they're not allowed to use it anymore. It says in the Mishnah that you're allowed to do work in that area. That's not allowed to do something with the ground, like tilling or planting. But if it does in the area, you want to use the place, that you're allowed to do. Like it says in the Mishnah, with the list of Sham Pishtan or Lakasham Avanim, you're allowed to comb Pishtan, probably it needs a big place, a big area, things that you do on the area, but not that using the ground at all. The Lakasham Avanim would mean probably to chisel out stones, not the chiseling out stones from the ground, but that you're carving them out after they're ready, detached from the ground. So you use the place, you just can't use the earth. If it would have said only lo yizarea in the elazria, if only would say al shel lo yizarea, only wouldn't be allowed to plant. Or shavod is for 9. How you know that they're not allowed to do all kinds of work in the ground either? That's general. It shouldn't be worked in any way. It shouldn't be worked in any way. So if it said in any kind of way, you're not allowed to work the land. So why do you single out one particular case of sowing? You're not allowed to do anything. If they learn out that has to be similar to Zriya, that's something which is an actual sowing, planting, so for other kinds of work that's in the ground. But if it's just something that's using the area, that's mutter. Then ask the question, how do you know to darshan that? It says a klal prat. We know a couple of days ago that it says a generalization and it says something specific. So it means only the specific. It says the Rebbe no recess. Then he points to one boy, no recess. It says klal prat, so it means only prat. Everyone else has recess. To over here, Ema shel lo yaved bo is a klal, and lo yizareh is a prat. Klal prat, Ema klal la mashe prat. As Ria in midech rina lo. That's the way you're supposed to dash in a pasuk. So then you only have it says only Ria, even though it says another word lo yaved, but then it explains itself. I mean to say lo yizareh. So only the issa would be to plant and nothing else. The answer is Asher Ribuyahu. That's what we said a couple of lines ago. Asher Ribuyahu, the word Asher, if it would have been a klal prat, then it would have been, you're right. Klal prat, only Zriya would have been Asher. But the fact that it says Asher, so that's an extra word, unnecessary, and therefore we can learn out that it's come to be Marva other avodas also. And that's what Yonason said, that you have no way to learn the pasuk before Asher Lo, about learning the past, that it has to be also, that never should have been tilled. That you have no pasuk for, because the pasuk has to tell you that other avodas are usher, but it's only usher from now on, and that's how we paskin, that all avodas are usher in the karka, but on the area is okay. And what is usher? From now on, after the egla rufa, you're not allowed to do any kind of work in the ground.
It was just a klal and a prat, not a klal prat.
Right. If we klal prat a klal, then kaina prat, but this is a klal prat, okay. Only the prat. Now we go into the halachas. What do they do? What is the seder? What is the process that they do? By the egla rufa. Just to point out, that's a simple thing, but I think people don't realize sometimes that the whole thing of the egla rufa has nothing to do with the place where the man was murdered. They only go there to measure. They measure where he was, which is the closest city. Once they do that, they don't do the whole thing egla rufa in the place where he was murdered. Right. That's something else. They don't do the egla rufa in the place where the man was found.
Oh, they don't?
No. Why are you surprised? They go to.
They're in the valley there. I thought that's where they do it.
Maybe he was killed in a mountain. What does that have to do where he was killed? He was killed where he was killed, and then you measure to where he was killed.
And then you go
to Egla, you go to a Nachal Eisan, and where's the Nachal Eisan? Go to a Nachal Eisan. It could be 50 miles away. You have to go to a Nachal.
I see. It doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be anything to do with the place where the man was.
Okay.
I also, and I don't know why people think that, but this pasuk says openly, you go to a Nachal Eisan. You don't go to the place where you do have to go there to measure.
You have to go measure between
the cities where the man was found. But nothing to do with the place where you can do egla rufa. That's go to an achalesa.
Measuring is done by the Sanhedrin.
Right.
The egla rufa is done
someplace
elsewhere by Ziknei.
Right. Two different kinds of the Rabbanim, all different Rabbanim. Right. And also let's point out that the Rambam says the whole Ziknei Ha'ir, that all of this Ziknei, he says even 100. Sanhedrin is one issue, and then we pass in only 5 from the Sanhedrin. I go to measure. That's the measuring. Then when they do the egla rufa, it has nothing to do with the place where he was killed. You go to an achales and you bring an egla that was never at a hole in that, and there they do who does it, not the Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin goes home, and now the Ziknei Ha'ir. How many Ziknei Ha'ir? So it's going to say that all this Canaan. The Rambam, the Gemara doesn't say, but the Rambam is all this Gafilu Meya. The Rambam says, and the pasuk says so. B'chol Ziknei. It says Ziknei Osa Ha'ir Rochas in Esidayim. It could be when they do the Orfos Egla, but the Rochatsu it says B'chol Ziknei Ha'ir Yechatsu Esidayim. The pasuk that says that all this Canaan, even if there are hundreds of Canaan, everyone washes their hands over there, and they say Yadeinu Lo Shafkos Adam Hazeh. Ziknei Ha'ir Rochas in Yadayim. And we said all this Canaan. That the Gemara doesn't say, but it is. It's a free. The Rambam brings it down. Tanu Rabbanan. V'chol. Look at that pasuk. V'chol ziknei ha'ir ha'hi. Akuvim al ha'chalol yechatzu eshidayim al ha'glar v'fa b'nachal. That's the pasuk. All of the elders of the city that are close to the slain man should wash their hands on the place where the egla rufa in the nachal. And there's extra word over there. That word is extra. Mamash on the place where they chopped its head off, that's the place that they wash their hands. Not in their proximity, on the place mamish where they chopped off the head. And then it says in the pasuk, they should say, that our hands, they declare our hands did not spill this blood and our eyes did not see. So the question is, does anybody think that these Rabbanim, they're the ones who killed? Do we think that the Bezin are murderers? Ella means that we were not responsible in an indirect way. That when he came passing through our city, we didn't let him go without food. We didn't let him go without escort. That means that it's a responsibility of the city when someone's passing through and he's leaving, that they shouldn't just say goodbye. They have to give him food for the road and also to escort him, to show him the way, which the Mepharshim say that the Ikal Levaya is to show which way he's supposed to go. And the people are saying that we did our responsibility. Now, did they? I'm not sure. If they did,
the Iker Levui is
the Iker Mitzvah of Livui is to show them which way to go. Of course, it's the best thing if you could mamish escort them as far as you could. And we're going to see soon what the responsibility is. L'chara means out of the city. Within the city, there's l'chara. There's no responsibility to be malabeh within the city because it's considered safe. But once you go out of the city, then you have to have food and you have to have directions. You also would help to have weapons and stuff like that, but we don't. Doesn't say you have to give them weapons, but you do have to escort them. And the Mepharshim are going to say it means to show them the way. Tanya, we learned in the Brayso, May Omer, go from the Levaya. We forced. There's a yes, no.
Go from the Levaya.
We forced means that the city has a responsibility, and people have to force each other, which would mean that to pay money, that there should be somebody appointed to lower the boy if somebody needs to go. So and maybe it could be also that you could force the balabayas. I don't know. Everybody could force. There's a mitzvah to do levaya, which means escorting, and even forced. Even if not, the person doesn't do it because of the goodness of his heart. He's mechuyev to do it, and we could force each other. There's no limit to them reward for escorting. Shenema, but now he's a pasuk.
That's the proof that you have to force them.
No, that's very good. Why is that a
reason to quote?
It's like sounds like another point. You should know that's Chalavaya in Loshir, but is that a reason why you force? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't answer to that question. Now he's a pasuk that the Chor is not talking about Levaya at all, and the Gemara is going to learn out from here the importance of showing somebody the right way. Over there, it's not talking about escorting. It's talking about when Am Yisrael came to capture Eretz Yisrael, and they had to capture the city Luz, and they didn't know how. It was fortified in a way, but they weren't able to find the entrance. Probably had a wall, and there was some secret entrance, and they didn't know how to get into how to capture the city. So it says in the pasuk, "Vayura shomrim ish yotzei min ha'ir." The people Am Yisrael, they saw somebody coming out of the city, and they knew that they got out somehow. Where did he come from? And they said, show us the entrance to the city, we're going to do a kindness to you. Then it says, he did. He showed them how to get into the city, and they were able to capture it. And then it says, what did they do to him? They killed the whole city. But that man was saved. They sent that man and his family away. And then it says that he went someplace else. That he went out someplace else. They say maybe Africa. And a city called Luz over there. He built up a city called it Luz, and that's the same city until today. And in that city, it's very well protected. Tanya, Luz, he Luz, Shesogum Tchelas. That's the Luz is famous for dying Tchelas. He Luz, Shebosam Chev V'lo Bilbula, Nebuchadnezzar V'lo Achriva. That even at times of big wars, and Chev came and he mixed up all of the different countries. He moved people out, he exiled people from one country to another country. Nebuchadnezzar also destroyed many countries, but Luz was always saved. And Tanya, he loses. So I'm sorry. And even the angel of death cannot go into the city of Luz. The person, because he's the one, the founder of the city, was the one who had shown Am Yisrael the right way to go. So he got the merit of building up a city that in that city the Malach HaMavis doesn't have entry. Because but the elder old people, they want to die already. They have enough. They want to die. So they have to go out of the city. If they stay in the city, they're going to continue living. And if they want to die already, so they would leave the city and die. Interesting thing, are you allowed to do that? If someone is in a situation where he's living, is he allowed to go out and then he's going to be vulnerable to death? Or keep on living? What kind of thing is that? So it's not a proof from here because here they were going. It's not a proof. It's a city, maybe in Africa with a Goyish city. So it's not a proof that that it's mutter. Maybe it's a question. If an old person is allowed to make himself in a situation where he's going to die, of course, he's not allowed to kill himself. But if he has some kind of a protection, is he allowed to go out of that protection in order to become vulnerable to death? I'm sorry for all these disturbances. How's it going? What can we do?
Maybe move the couple little closer to them.
Closer to this?
Oh,
Okay. So you see the reward that this guy got for showing Am Yisrael the right way to go. About showing a person the right way to go. This guy that he didn't even speak. He didn't even walk in order to show them where to go. It's going to say soon he just nodded or something like that to show them which way to go. He got for himself a salvation for him and his children for all generations. And he got the city of Luz over there. Misha us someone that actually walks with his feet to escort somebody to show him which way to go. Surely going to have so much reward. But how did he show Am Yisrael how to go? This is in Luz when this guy was showing the Jews how to conquer Luz. How did he show them the right entrance? So I don't know how the Gemara knows. The Gemara says different possibilities, and maybe there's a Masorah, I don't know. He just with his mouth, he made some kind of a motion with his mouth which way to go. He showed them with his finger. He didn't even walk, he just showed him, didn't speak, he just showed him with his finger, pointed which way to go. Tani Kavasa de Avrohom, we have a price like Avrohom that showed him with his finger. Because he showed them with his finger, he pointed which way to go. That's how he got the first wall of his generations. And when you escort somebody by foot, you actually go, surely you have a schus for taking care of him. Now we're starting the halachas of levaya. There's a mitzvah levaya. There's a mitzvah to, now we call levaya like a vais hameis, a funeral, but levaya means escorting, and escorting the living. When someone comes to visit you, so you're supposed to escort him. Now where? Pashas is talking about when he's going out of the city. Within the city, you don't have to. Nowadays, what's called the city? The old city is called the city. When you go out to the city, you have to escort him till. So it could be that it's called all in the city, the big city. It's all the city. Maybe some people happens to be. Some people are scared to go till Shayapo Friday night. Maybe there is a responsibility. He shouldn't go by himself, and you should escort him to show somebody. So especially if he doesn't know which way to go, surely help him to go to he sees. Here's the Gemara starts about this, the mitzvah of Levaya. Amar B'Shul ben Levi. Amahalech. No, not yet. This is still okay. It's going to be Agarata now, but it doesn't get to the question of how much you're supposed to do. But the person says, what do you do if you don't have an escort? How can you be protected? Amar B'Shul ben Levi. Someone doesn't have an escort, he doesn't have somebody to help him, so he should learn Torah. The Torah will protect him. The issue is that he's in danger going on the road, so he should learn Torah that will protect him. So it's a drash on the word. The word livyas means an accompaniment of, the word literally means an accompaniment, like when you have a charm, it's called it's a livyas chen. It accompanies you to give you grace. But the Gemara is saying it has to do with the word levaya, that the Torah will be an escort for you. Some kind of a necklace, but the point of the Gemara is the beginning of the pasuk. The Torah, the Torah is going to be a escort of grace for your head. Another point about the volume, because of the 4 steps that Paro, the king Paro, not the Paro of Mitzrayim, in Sefer Shmos, by Avrohom. Avrohom went to Mitzrayim, and Paro sent people to escort him because of that schus that Paro escorted him, like it says, that Paro appointed people to escort him. And it says 4 steps. Maybe Paro himself went 4 steps before he sent escort, but he went 4 steps because of the 4 steps. That's why he was the one chosen to have the opportunity to subjugate Am Yisrael 400 years. 100 years per step. Each step, he got 100 years for his children. That the subjugation of Am Yisrael was 400 years to Mitzrayim. How come Mitzrayim? Because Paro had escorted Avrohom 4 steps. If somebody escorts his friend in the city, the Chor means he's going out of the city, and he's not taking him out of the city. And we're going to see soon he's supposed to. He's supposed to escort him out of the city. But he didn't. But he escorted him at least 4 amos. 4 amos is what? The 4 amos is 2 meters. So what does it help him? It sounds like it's something spiritual, that when somebody gives the escort of 4 amos, it's already something. Maybe also he tells him which way to go. He points ahead of the way, go till here, and then turn right after 15 minutes, whatever it's going to be. But there's some benefit of escorting even within the city. And the person is going to be saved. The person is going to be saved from damage. The one who's being escorted, not the escorter, the escortee. Ravina Alba has a couple of stories of people that did escort, and the person was saved. Ravina Alba Lebava Bayitzchak Arba Amos Beir, Matel Yadei Hezekov. It happens such a story. Ravina had just escorted him for 4 amos in the city, and then something did happen on the road later, and he was saved from it. And the Gemara attributes it to the fact that someone had escorted him 4 amos in the city. Tani Rabbana, Harav L'Talmud. How much are you supposed to escort? So it's going to say different shiurim. Harav L'Talmud, Adibur Shalir. Chaver L'Chaver, Atchum Shabbos. Talmud L'Rav, Ein Lo Shir. The Kamam Rav Sheshes Ad Parsa. Below Mornella Da Rabba Shena Mubik, Abba Rabba Mubik is going to be Shlosha Parsa. So it says that a Rebbe to a Talmud, the Rebbe is escorting the Talmud. So it's not only covered. If the din will be covered, then you wouldn't have to do it, Rebbe to the Talmud. But it's some kind of a shmira, it's some kind of protection. So the Rav is supposed to escort the student until outside the city. So Ibur Shalir is like a margin about 70 amos, which is about 35 meters, past the city limits. He takes him to the end of the city, and then you're out over there in the wilderness. He has to go another 35 meters about to escort the student. How about a friend to a friend, the equal of pair? 2,000 amos, a kilometer. You have to go a kilometer past the city. Amazing. Talmud the Rav and the student to escort the Rav, ain't no shear. That's like without amount, but the one knows that it doesn't mean endless. The how much does that mean to say? 4 kilometers. But if he's his main Rebbe that he learned most of his learning from, then he has to go 3 parsa, which is about 12 kilometers. That's much fascinating. He goes 12 kilometers to escort, then he goes back. It's half a day journey. So how come we don't do this? We're all in the city maybe, but if it'd be a case, someone would have a place out of the civilization, the bungalow colony, some kind of yeshuv. So you're not supposed to just say goodbye. You're supposed to escort him.
The way we do is just we walk into our door.
So it could be this is all called
onto the porch.
Right. Maybe this is called in the city. He's not going out of the city, staying in the city. But if he's going out of the city, then he's supposed to be malavet. So just to get to the city limits is going to be a 45-minute walk or more until you get there. But usually it doesn't happen. But if it will be a case of a moshav, things like that, so it's not good enough just to show him. You have to walk with him. Here it says a chaver is 2,000 amos down the road. Now, no one walks nowadays. People don't walk. They can't take a car or something. So to take him to the bus stop, something like that. You have to take him till he knows the civilization. He has to be you just can't let him go.
Most times on a Friday night is a guest.
Right. So then it's probably not a problem because they're in the city. Rav, a couple of stories. Rav Kana Alvei Rav Stimi Barashi Nipumnara Ad Beitinisa the Bavel. So we don't know what these places are, so it doesn't help us too much because we are not impressed with the distance because I don't know what it is. But if you know the place over there in Bavel, Rav Kana escorted Rav Shimi Barashi from Pumnara, name of a place, until the place where there were palm trees. Beitinisa the Bavel, the famous place where there were palm trees in Bavel. So it doesn't help us for knowing how long the distance, because we don't know what the distance is. But the Gemara says a side story, which we also had in Maseches Brachos, and we'll do it again now. It's about 4 lines. Kimota Hasa, when they came to Tzinitzah the Bavel, where he's going to part over there, Amalei, Vade the Misu, the Haritz in Yasa, the Baba, Mishnei, Adam, and Rishon. It's new. Is it true, the saying that people say that these palm trees are here since Adam and Rishon? That's how the saying goes, that these palm trees are here since Adam and Rishon. So he said, no, it's not the Pshat. Amalei, at Katan, Milsa, Damar, Rav Yosef, Rav Chanina, you reminded me of what Rav Yosef, Rav Chanina says. That's a pasuk. Maybe we'll just highlight that. Ba'aretz, in the land that the man didn't pass, and a man did not sit. Saying a desolate land. Why nobody was extra words. It says nobody ever passed and nobody ever lived. If you never passed, it means even don't ever even pass by. So surely nobody lived there. If nobody ever passed by, surely he didn't sit over there, never lived over there. Ella Eretz Shagazel Adam Rishon the Yishuv Nis Yashva. Eretz Shalogazel Adam Rishon Lo Nis Yashva. First, it means that Adam Rishon decreed which land should be, which land should not. Everything was empty in his time, as only man, and then he wanted to say this place should be, civil should not, or he said this place should be. So that's what the saying goes. The saying is a true saying, but people misunderstood it. That they say that these palm trees doesn't mean these actual trees. It means that this place, the palm trees, was decreed upon by Adam Rishon that it should be a place of palm trees, or else it wouldn't have been. That's what they meant to say. But people misunderstood it, and they said that these actual trees. That's a mistake. So the more that throws that in, the more over there in Brachos talks about that a person should say about Torah when there's parting. So brings this down. But here in the Gemara does come to Naga. But it did want to tell us that Rav Kana escorted Rav Shimon ben Rashi such a far distance. A new point, new story. Also, we don't know the places, so it doesn't help us. Rav Mordechai Alvei Rav Ashi Magunya Ad Kipui Ram Milo Ad Beidura. And Rav Mordechai, he escorted his Rebbe Rav Ashi very long distance. Magunya until Beikipi, or some say until Beidura, which I don't know what it is. But it probably sounds like even more than 3 parsa. Because if it would be 3 parsa, that's the halacha. You must 3 parsa, 12 kilometers. This must have been even more. So I don't know what it is, but there's a chiyuv to escort a Rebbe 12 kilometers. Again, it's not going to happen nowadays because he's not going to go by walk. He's not going to go by foot or donkey. He's going to be going in the car. So I don't think there's any issue to that could go behind him. I don't think so. If he's in a safe place, maybe he's in a place. Some places do need a escort, even if they're in a car. He shouldn't go the wrong way. Depends which moshav. They shouldn't make a wrong turn. Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Rab Meir, Kol She'ena B'Lava Muslava Kilu Shofech L'Amen. Let's change the color over here. Backed up. I'm sorry. Kol She'eno Mislava, Ve'eno Mislava Kilu Shofech L'Amen. If somebody doesn't escort, or the other way Mislava, even if he's not escorted, means you're not supposed to be mochalam. The person who's the guest, who's the traveler, should take the escort. And if he says no, don't, so it's a problem. He's also responsible. It's kind of like it's responsible for his life. It means you're going in a dangerous place, and you have to have an escort. And the one who, the host and the guest, both of them should have the responsibility of living up to the escort. Over there talks about that Elisha was traveling from place to place. He went from Yericho to Beisel. And then it says that the children came out and degraded Elisha. They called him a bald man. And Elisha cursed them. And it says that 2 bears came out of the forest and killed 42 children. And here the Gemara is soon going to say that later on the Gemara is going to say that Elisha was not right of Elisha. Here the person doesn't say it's Farish, and the Gemara here is not saying it's his fault, but the Gemara is saying that it wouldn't have happened because if they would have had Libui, so then the children would have been more held. The people of the city wouldn't have let the children to be such liquid suffering.
They didn't escort Elisha.
They didn't escort Elisha, right?
And because of that,
the children were there by themselves outside the city outskirts, and they're the ones who spoke with chutzpah to Elisha, and because of that he cursed them. Because of that they got killed. If it would have been under the parental guidance over there, because there would have been somebody being alive, they wouldn't have let the kids wouldn't have spoken with chutzpah. The whole thing wouldn't have happened. Shenemar. Get the pasuk here. Shenemar. Yom Rishon Beisel. Elisha left from Yericho to go to Beisel. Who Allah Badera. He was going on the road, and the arm Ketanim Yotzim Minayir, and small children came out of the city by his counsel, and they degraded him. They made fun of him. And they said, come up, bald person, come up bald person. They point out that by Eliyahu was a Baal Seyor. It says Eliyahu had hair, and Elisha was bald on the other hand. Maybe that's a side point. But they pointed out the Lake They called him a Kereach. They called him a bald man
Excuse me, this word,
by his
his
counsel.
counsel. It can go either way.
Yes,
On
very
Shabbos, we have Lakale.
Alei yes. And the Radak says it used to be Iskadel, Iskadesh, how's it go over there? Barach, Yishtabach, Yishkav, Yisharam, Yisnaseh, Yisador, Yisalev, Yiskales. Shmei the good show, but they changed it because Yiskales could also mean forbid,
It's one of those
so they
words that can
changed
go
it.
the
They
opposite.
keep it both of them, right?
Okay.
So here it means that they degraded him, they made fun of him, they ridiculed him. So I'm not following.
It's not, the Gemara didn't want to put down that they said something derogatory, so they praised.
I don't think so. I think that the word, I don't think so. I hear what you're saying, but I don't think so. I think the word lakales,
Like
means-
Kidesh, like Kadesh, and Kidesh.
I'm not sure. Also, you have to find out if it's in Hebrew. In Hebrew here, it means that they ridiculed him. And you have to find what we learned, lakales, does that mean Hebrew or that Aramaic? Because there's a different word, but here it surely means to degrade.
Mhm.
And that because of that now there wasn't going to the story about these children. Interesting that the Pashup Shad of the Pasuk, I think the Pashup Shad is that the children came out of Beisel. And the Pashup Shad of the Pasuk. Here the Gemara sounds like it was Yericho. And the people of Yericho would have escorted it, then the children of Yericho would not have. The whole Gemara goes that it was the children of Yericho. The Pashup Shad might have been the children of Beisel. That's the Pashup that we're reading. But the Gemara learns that it was Yericho. And here it says that if the people of Yericho would have escorted Elisha, nothing would have happened. Amulo alei. Now, what was their problem? Why were they making fun of him? So the Gemara says the reason was, according to Rashi's Pshat, alei sheikirachta aleinu wasamakom. You made the place bald. What does that mean? They made the place bald. So Rashi learns it means that you took away our parnasa. What was the story? In Yericho, the water, it says over there, the waters weren't good. People were dying. The waters were bad waters, and people were drinking it and dying. So Elisha, he made the water should be drinkable. And then, so very good. Everyone's happy. But he says no, the kids weren't happy because they were water carriers and they had parnasa from bringing water to the city, and now that the water became sweet, they lost their job. They lost their parnasa. So they blamed Elisha for making the water sweet. And because of that, he said, you made the place bald. It says in the pasuk, it says young lads, small children. But the one says it's not a usual way to say Noam Ketanim. So how come it says these double term, either a nar, a katan, a nar is usually bigger than a katan. And Ketanim, the both words are darshan. The word nar doesn't mean a lad, it means empty, like shaken out. They had no mitzvahs. And Ketanim, that they have Tani Amana, they had little trust in Hashem. Rashi says because they didn't trust Hashem to give them parnasa. Even though till now their water carriers, now their job is over, Hashem gives them another source of parnasa. But they didn't trust in Hashem, Tani Amana. Tana. Nor Moyu, Ubizbizu Asman Kiktanim. Now the pshat, that really they were Norm, they were lads. Kipshuto and Norm, they were lads. Why is it called Ketanim? They made themselves Mevuzeh. Usually Bizbazu would mean a different word, Mevazeh, Bizu Asman Kiktanim. They made themselves, I think maybe that's what the unfortunate say, that it means that that you have to have a problem. The Arm Ketanim say that really they were Ketanim, and the reason why they called Na'arim is because it's a city called Na'aran. As the Gemara says in another place that there's a such place called Na'aran. So Na'arim Ketanim could mean Ketanim from the city Na'aran. Master Rav Yosef, maybe the place is called Na'aran. Milok Sid, there's another place where it says Na'ar Ketana, over there we darshan a Ketana from Na'aran. It says in the Pasuk Varam Yatzad V'Dudim, Ve'ishbu Meretz Yisrael Na'ar Ketana, that the Arameans, Aram, they went out in troops and they captured from Eretz Yisrael a Na'ar Ketana. And also the same kasha, Na'ar Ketana, either Na'ar Ketana, what is she? The kasha on Na'ar Ketana, how can it be both? Ramra Ketana, Ramra Pidas, Ketana. The Urim is a place called Neuron, it's a city called Neuron, and she was a Ketana from the Urans. What's the problem? Here also saying that there were these children from the city of Na'aran. And it says, no, over there, we don't know where they came from, where she came from. So you can say that Na'ar Ketana means a Ketana from the city Na'aran. But here, we know where they came from. Either Yericho or Beisa or whatever it is, we know where they came from. They weren't from some other city. They're right here. It says in the Pasuk, that we're going to dash the Psukim about Elisha cursing the children. He turned around and he saw them and he cursed in the name of Hashem. What did he see? What did Elisha see? He saw them. He saw. What does it mean he saw? That was a way of cursing them. Kidatanya
Say what is Rav Mamash mean?
he actually sing. Means you look at them and that way that they died. As the most going to say
I
that it's
see.
possible. Whenever the Chachamim put their eyes like in a bad way, they're looking at something. Or Misa or only. Either the result's going to be death or Nehemiah was there, and the story was the two bears came out of the forest and killed them. And that was a result of his looking at them. That he saw in Ruach HaKodesh that all their mothers became pregnant on Yom Kippur. That means that their mothers had relations with their fathers on Yom Kippur, which is Aser, Tashmish is also on Yom Kippur. They didn't do Iman Yom Kippurim, and all these children like had a bad source. The source was from maybe that's why they were such Mechutzafim, because they were conceived on Yom Kippur. The Lord is they saw some kind of a hairstyle like the Mori do. It's some kind of an avodah zarah usually that the Daki Mori, that's some kind of a hair pony that was looked like the goyim, and he saw that. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, he saw that they had not even any moisture of mitzvah. They didn't do any mitzvahs at all. Like I said before, in the Orim and mitzvahs, they were emptied out. These kids had no mitzvahs at all. Maybe in their children and their descendants, if they would have lived, then eventually would have come out good people from them. He was able to foresee that all of the children that are going to come out of them are not going to have any kind of mitzvahs, so that's why he cursed them and he killed them. It says in the pasuk, further in the pasuk, it says, this is the pasuk over there in the story. Bottom line, that two bears came out of the forest and broke through from them 42 children. It sounds like there were more than 42 children, a big group of children, and the bears killed 42 children. It says on top of the next page, Rav Shmuel, Machlokas between these from Ram, Chadam Manes, Chadam Manes. One said it was one miracle happened over there, and one says it was a double miracle. Manda Manes, what was the miracle? Yar Havu, Zubim Mohavu. There was a forest over there, but there were no bears, and the bears appeared miraculously. Some say it was a double miracle. There was no forest and there was no bears, and the both of them appeared miraculously. So this is an expression nowadays. When you want to say if it doesn't have any beginning, you say lo yar v'lo dubin. There's no what? Lo dubin v'lo yar. Not only are no bears, there's not even a forest. That's an expression nowadays that Israelis have. Comes from here. That there was no bears, there was not even a forest, and the whole thing appeared. The Master Kasha. Why was it necessary that the miracle should create a yar also? That's create bears. If there was a forest, Hashem created bears. If there was no forest, so let's make the bears. Why is it necessary to make the forest also? It'd be easy. They would have been scared. It means they wouldn't have attacked. It means the bears were natural bears. They weren't miraculous bears. They were miraculously made, but they were regular bears. And bears don't attack when they don't feel the security of having a forest nearby to be able to run to. So Hashem made the forest that they should be able to attack, or else they wouldn't have attacked. You can ask, why didn't Hashem make that they should miraculously attack? I don't know. Next Gemara. Amar Rabbi Hanina. Bishvil, Abo Mishnam Kabanos, Shehikri Velach Melch Moav, Hufkum Yisrael, Abo Mishnam Yuladim. The fact that you have here 42 children were killed, and you have 42 Kabanos that the Balak was marked. What do you see as marked 42 Kabanos? Because it says over there that the Bnei was Shivim Mizbachos. Balak told Bilam told Balak to build 7 Mizbachos each place. And Balak told Bilam, no, Bilam told Balak.
Oh, Bilam told
Bilam
to build.
told Balak to build, and he did. And each Mizbeach was part of a Mizbeach, a bull and a ram. And that was in 3 stations, 3 times. So it comes out 14 times 3, that's going to be the 42. So Balak sacrificed, offered 42 Kavanas to Hashem. And the merit of the 42 Kavanas, that's why Am Yisrael lost 42 people. Generations later. It doesn't have anything to do with Moab over here. But the fact that he cursed them that they should lose people with a curse, so the curse and eventually had effect when these 42 children were killed because of the curse based on the 42 kabbanas that Balak had offered. Is that what Balak got as for his 42 kabbanas? That it's kedai to do mitzvahs and Torah, even shalom lishma, because eventually you'll come to lishma. Where do you see that shalom lishma also has some value? That Balak, even though he brought the kabbalah shalom lishma, he was bringing the kabbalas in order to get what he wanted. He wanted to diminish Am Yisrael, but in this case, of the Shalom Lishma, he also got some schar. What happened? Eventually, Shlomo Melech came out because Rus and David, Shlomo brought 1,000 kabbanis. So the 42 kabbanis that he did, Shalom Lishma, eventually caused 1,000 kabbanis Lishma. Yosef and Choni, Rus Biter Shalom Melech, Beno Shel Balak Kaisa, that Rus was a descendant of Balak, because she was the daughter of Eglon Melech Moab, who was the son of Balak. Maybe it means more generations, but as many generations as it was, Rus was a descendant of Balak, and because of his kabbanis, so Rus came out of him, and Shlomo came out of her, and that was the many, many kabbanis. Anyway, what do you see? That this was the merit that he got for his 42 kabbanis. And now he's saying the merit was that the klala was Niskayim, and 42 Jews were killed. The answer is, he wanted a klala, means that he wanted that there should be a klala. So the fact that he had a descendant that was Shlomo Melech, and he also made kabbanis to Hashem, that's in the merit of his kabbanis. But the klala that he wanted to curse. So did the curse come into effect? So it did have some effect later on generations that 42 children were killed because of his curse.
What's his desire?
Right? His desire was to curse. It says in the pasuk. By Yomeru, we're going on a side point. Once you mentioned about Elisha, so we go into the subject a little bit over there. It says, backing up a little bit, Yericho. We talked about coming out of Yericho, and then the children cursed him, ridiculed him, and he cursed them, and the bears came and killed 42. It says earlier in Yericho, Vayamru Anshei Ha'ir El Elisha, Hinei Nam Moshav Top Kasher Daniro. But there's a problem. He came to Yericho. The people said to Elisha, Yericho is beautiful, great city. But it's a small problem that the water is not good and people are dying. So that doesn't sound so good. If the waters are not good waters and whoever drinks the water dies, so what's so good about the city? It's not a good city. So if the waters are not drinkable and the land bereaves its inhabitants, so what's so good about it? People like the place that they live in. The grace of the place is upon its inhabitants. So if you're in a certain place, people don't see what's so good about it, but the people who live there, it finds favor in their eyes. We find 5 things that are called chen, like we just said, and also a wife finds grace in the eyes, husband's eyes, even if other people would think not. People might think that she's not beautiful, but the husband has grace. The woman finds grace in her husband's eyes, and that when someone buys something, he likes it, even though some people might think that it's not worthy. But once he bought it, it's his, and he feels good about it.
The fact that people love, they find grace in the place that they live.
The place finds grace in their eyes. The place finds
grace in
the eyes of the inhabitants.
Is that an excuse or not?
No, it's a truth. What do you mean? A truth for what?
Well, it's a truth. So
It's a truth.
there's many people in Florida, Jews, who we seem to think they should live here, but the place finds grace in their eyes.
That's a terrible thing. Chutz is grace in the eyes of the Jews.
Well,
They
what
should
can they do
know.
about it? It's a thing that's
So they should know.
wow.
Yeah. So
How can they get over it?
the same way that somebody who lives inside a church should realize that this is disgusting because it's a church. So it's called Eretz Ha'amim. It's the land. Hashem is not the Shechit, and the grace of the church, or do you want to come to the Holy of Holies?
The grace of Hashem. Okay.
To answer the question?
Well, it's like a natural thing that they have
But
to fight.
that doesn't, yeah, okay, fine, you want to say that they have to fight.
I know,
but
I'm just
that-
asking.
but it has to become
Does that
disgusting to them. It has to
They
become
were
disgusting.
so that's why we.
And then they should say, so we have to work on it, but they have to realize that they're in the Eretz Amim and it's straight, and Hashem is
Okay.
waiting them, Adama Tmeya. What name would have Adama Tmeya? Any place in the Chutz is called Adama Tmeya, and they have to realize it and and realize that it should be disgusting to them. As Rabbi Miller says, when people believe in Eretz Yisrael, Eretz Mitzrayim, they were leaving Eretz Mitzrayim, did they turn back and say, my grandfather, no, you turn around, you don't look back. And when they were leaving Babel, the same thing. When they left Europe, the same thing. And God said, I'm supposed to leave America also.
This speaks to Shlomo They have all the letters of the year and what how they're struggling to make it here, but they want to be here. They say they know that Shon is very, very important in that district. And they're living in small apartments, some of them have roaches in part of their life, but they're living here. I mean, so we say it's very nice. You have to give credit. They say.
Sort of like a
If they
backhanded compliment.
It doesn't sound.
If they stayed in Lakewood, they
But
would have a big basement apartment, which is double the size of our apartment.
do they talk about how wonderful it is?
No, they know that.
It comes out with a correct or it comes out.
The Rosh Hashanah is that the learning here is compared to the learning in America.
There's enough things to talk about. Also the beauty of Eretz Yisrael besides the cockroaches that they have in their apartment.
No, they're just saying that.
No, that's
what
Yeah. And also showing that what going to be shown, they talk about Shana Shlishis and talk to the also interview because for a year. They had couples have been here for 15, 20 years, and someone has done that. Someone has written a book that is talking about the things that great Aliyah. They plan to be and the book coming out that is
Who's doing that?
Yoel Berman.
Yoel Berman?
He's in the letters.
Uh-huh.
He writes them back. And
Uh-huh.
if they have any questions, he'll even tell them where to live. That's
yeah.
cheaper. They don't have to live in Yerushalayim here.
Yeah.
Communities.
That's his
bigger apartments.
forte.
Yeah, that's he's one of the
He
legends.
didn't want to interview me because he said, old generation, they don't.
Yeah, you should talk to-
They have to talk. They said, no, our age is not good for them. We're too old already. They want to have the young generation that they were successful.
Uh-huh.
I didn't understand, but that's what he said. Next one. Back to the issue of Elisha. Tanu Rabbanan. Shlosha Chalon Chala Elisha.
And what's the thing about the chain? I don't get it. What is it trying to teach us? Is that people like the place they are?
The place.
The reason the more said is because it says in Yericho, it says that the place is wonderful, but it's dying.
There's bad water, so.
And everybody's dying over there. And he says it's a wonderful place. Just a little trouble, everybody's dying. So that everybody's dying, and that's a wonderful place. What's a wonderful Pain, Makom Al Yoshua. But maybe Yaakov asked that people in Chosar have such a problem. That's it.
But on the other hand, Alish gave them a tikkun.
Fine, wonderful. Then it's even better. Then even the water also good. The more is asking, what were they saying? That the waters are no good, we're dying, and the place is wonderful. That's a contradiction. If people are dying, it's not so wonderful. You like the place that you are, it's difficult. And you come to Eretz Yisrael, the people in Chosar come to Eretz Yisrael, and after a while, it's going to be Chem Mokom Yoshev, and they're going to.
They come open-minded.
Elisha became sweet. It's a drash in the pasuk. It says in the pasuk up as will. Elisha died. Because he enticed the bears, means he cursed them. He cursed the children that the bears came. So that's considered a time against him. Here's the first time that was considered a time against the one was because he pushed away Gerchzi, which is more story coming up soon. Away Gerchzi was something, and he pushed him away too much that he wasn't able to do tshuva. He didn't do it in a way that he has to come back. And after he died, that's the pasuk Shenema, she almost goes. So it says extra words to say that he became sick 2 times earlier as a punishment, some bad thing. And what was it? One was that he cursed children, and one was that he pushed away Gehazi with 2 hands.
What is the pasuk showing?
That 3 times. Cholio, Yamus.
Oh, I see.
Tanu Rabbanan. Going into the sugya about Gehazi. The story of Gehazi, just like a little backtrack a little. The story of Gehazi. That a Talmud, a Gabbai, Shamash, that his name was Gehazi. And but a story of Naaman, which was a general of Aram, that he came with Saras, and the king of Aram asked the king of Yisrael that cured from his Saras, and Elisha cured him from his Saras. In short, without the whole story. And he wanted to pay Elisha, wanted to give him money. Elisha said no. And then Anama went back to Aram, and the student, this Shamash of Elisha, he went and Naaman, and he said that just now 2 disciples and they have nothing. And so to speak, Elisha is asking if you for them.
Implied though, right? Or did he say Elisha?
I don't think that he said openly that Elisha sent him as a message, but it was implied.
Yeah.
And he gave him that Kikrayim Kesef, two talents and clothing. And then Elisha, in his prophecy, he knew what had happened. And Gehazi came back as if nothing happened. He said, "Where have you been?" He said, "I was draying around." He said, "I think I didn't see when you were already getting clothing and silver and the curse." And that was a bad thing. It caused the Chil Hashem. Elisha wanted to make a Kiddush Hashem, but he didn't take any money. And he went back and it did take money. That caused the Chil Hashem. Well, it wasn't as big a Kiddush Hashem as it would have been. And then he became a Tzorah. Gehazi became a Tzorah. Naaman was cured from his Tzaras. And now he gave him a curse that the Tzaras of Naaman should with you and your children. And he became a Tzorah on the spot.
Was Gehazi going to keep the things, or was he going to give them?
No, he's going to keep it. He made up a
He's going
story.
to keep them.
He made it up. He made up a story. Olam takes small docha. He made the Karev. So the said a second, but Elisha pushed away Gehazi too much, too strong. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear.
The curse was to the rest of his life.
Right. It says something like that in the pasuk that the curse that's I don't know. So the Gemara said a second ago that Elisha became sick because of that. That he shouldn't have pushed him away with two hands. It means push him away, but not with two hands. Even when the left hand way, you have to push away, but still push with the left hand. But the right hand should still hold him close. It means pull back more than you push away. So that's a censorship. It says in all of the Kisvayad, it says Yeshua Notzri, the Christian, right? No Notzri. Notzri probably means from Natzeres. That's where he came from. But his name was Yeshua, and he was a Talmud of Yeshua ben Trachim until he went off. And it says that both of these stories, they were pushed away too far. So not like Elisha that pushed away Gehazi with two hands, and not like Yeshua ben Trachim, who was a Tana at the beginning of Pirkei Avos, he mentions his name over there, who pushed away Yeshua with two hands. And I was going to say both stories. Elisha Mai, what's the story of Elisha? The Chsiv. So we'll get the pasuk over here. We'll highlight the pasuk.
I'm sorry, Yehoshua ben Karach pushed away,
Yeshu.
and that was wrong.
He pushed him away too much. Two hands.
Okay,
He should have given him some room to come back.
that's it.
Elisha Mai, what's the story of Elisha? It says, he asked for a kikar, and he said, take two talents of silver. Naaman, but when Gehazi asked for money for these two talmidim, he gave him 2 talents of silver. Uksiv, איש, ויאמר כפתו לכבשך, האיש לקח את הכסף ולקח את הבגדים, וזיתים וכרמים ושום לבוקות ועבדים ושפחות. That's all the pasuk of what Elisha told Gehazi. He said, did I not see that the person, Naaman, returned around from his chapel when you were calling him? Is it the time now to take silver and to take clothing and to take olive trees and vineyards and sheep and cattle and slaves and maids? Is that what is the right time that you want money from him? So the Pashtan of the pasuk is that he had already plans. Gehazi had this. He was ready planning what he was going to buy. He had the whole thing out already. So, but in the pasuk it does say it took silver and clothing. So the Pashtan is okay, but the Gemara says there's room for drash over here. When we you take all these things. You just took the first two things. He just took two. He didn't take all these 8 things. Elisha Osek B'Shmona Shvasim. At the time, Elisha was teaching the prior Shmona Shvasim. That's the pasuk in Parshas Shmini. We're taught 8 rodents that if they die, how's it go there? The war in Shamas. So, and learning Torah brings reward. On the Shmona Shvasim means for the Shmona Shvasim you're going to get 8 rewards in Shamayim, and you want to cash in already. You took 2 of the 8 that are coming to you. Amallah of Russia, you came time to take this reward 8 things. So it's true. You took 2 out of the 8. You're rushing in on your schar. your children forever. Something like that.
So Ras is related to the Shvatzim?
No,
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 just that what Naaman was cured of, you're gonna get.
right. I think that should be a period over here. The Gemara is not any further. I would put a Shvatzim and go to further. It says in the pasuk, Elisha cursed Gehazi that he and his children should be a mitzvah forever. Now the Gemara brings down a pasuk which says that it was him. It says a pasuk someplace else. There were 4 people that were mitzvah him. It says further in the story in Malachim, who they were. That was a story where the Machane Aram fled and they came and told the king, and everybody came out to get food. It was a starvation happening inside the walls. And they came out because the Machane Aram had fled. Hashem made a miracle that they were scared and they fled. Who were the former Saram? They were the ones who were Saram because, like it says, they were cursed. So he and his children. Next Gemara, it says in the pasuk, it says that Elisha went to Damascus. And over there it says what happened over there. But why did he go to Damascus? Why did he go? He did go bring back Echsi with Shuvah. Means even though I said before that he pushed him away too hard, but he did want to bring him back, but he didn't come back. He didn't do Shuvah. And he tried. Elisha told Gehazi, do Shuvah. I have a Masorah from you. Call me speaking about the last Shuvah. Whoever sinned, but not only sinned, he caused the multitudes to sin. He's not going to have the opportunity to do Shuvah. So my Shuvah is not going to help. So he was turned off and he wasn't going to do Shuvah.
Is that true?
Yeah, I told him, but he didn't tell him right now. He told him once upon a time, but he remembered. He's a good Talmud. He means he remembered the learning. And the Gehazi, Elisha once told him that a person Mati Yisrael was speaking about the last Shuvah, and he was guilty of that, and he didn't think that Shuvah was going to help. And he didn't do tshuva. It doesn't say, but it could be that originally when Gehazi pushed him away too hard. That was too hard of a push, and therefore he wasn't going to do tshuva now. But it does say that the reason that he said is because I was Machti Yisrael. Not wants to know as a side point, what did he do that Machti Yisrael? What did he do?
Why, I mean, it was his own private gain. That
No problem.
he was stooling behind the
No, I was gonna say that.
supplier. He knew about it, except the Navi.
I'm not following. What's the question?
He's asking what the Chesed is Rabbi.
It doesn't say it.
Right now, let's take it.
You're right, and the pasuk of the law doesn't say Hachis Rabbim. Not a Gemara doesn't say it. There was something else that also was involved. My Abad, what did he do? A few versions. Ikadami Evan Shabbos Tadalo Lechatas Yiravam Hamidalo B'Shemayim Bar. Some say that he made some kind of a technical trick in order to make that the calves that the Rabbim had made, that it should look like it has power. And they made that it should be suspended in midair with a magnet. Evan Shabbos is a magnet. Either he made a magnet that was pulling on top, or he made it on the bottom that was opposing pole, and it made that the eagle should be suspended in midair. And people thought that it's a miracle, and he has power. So people could be more drawn to the eagle. And not the eagle of, we're talking the eagle, the Shtei, the 2 calves. One and based on one and done. So he caused that the people should be nimshach to be drawn to Avodah Zarah. That's one version. That he put Hashem into the mouth of the eagle, and it was saying, also, but this was not the different gods. It was representing Hashem, but it's so that's also Avera, and he caused people to be more drawn to the Avodah Zarah of these Agolim. And the third version, that he didn't let Tamidim come to Elisha. It was the Be'er Shamash. He didn't let people come to learn by Elisha. Here's a pasuk. The Bnei Anavim, those are the Tamidim of Elisha. They're learning the Hua. He said to Elisha, the place is very tight, too crowded. We need more place. So over there they went to clear a forest. But anyway, he says that there's no place. So many Talmidim, not enough place for them. Till now it wasn't crowded. Why now? Because till now Gehazi didn't let Talmidim come. Once Gehazi was away, so then Talmidim came. So you see that he had an avera of holding back Talmidim from coming. That was a side point to say what was the avera of Gehazi, and because of that he didn't do tshuva. But Elisha is blamed for pushing him away too hard. Don't push away too hard. Give him a chance to be able to come back. And it says he did try to get him back, but it didn't come back. Now it says story. Excuse me. Thank you. Now it's out a story about Yeshua and Krachia, that is the way Yeshua ben Krachia. What happened? What's the story? Yanai was a bad king. He killed out the Tamid Chachamim. He killed all the Chachamim, besides for his brother-in-law Shimon ben Shetach. Shimon ben Shetach at Minhu Achsei. The wife of Yanai HaMelech was the sister of Shimon ben Shetach. So the queen hit her brother that he shouldn't be killed. So Shimon ben Shetach was in hiding. And there's a story. Prachia was in danger of getting killed by Yana. He ran away. He ran away to Alexandria. He ran away from Yana. At the end, when there was peace already and was no more danger, so Shimon Shetach sent message to Yeshua and Prachia to come back. Shimon Shetach, he sent the following message. To Alexandria of Mitzrayim. Following message. Achosi, my sister. Means Yerushalayim calls Alexandria my sister. Bali Shoi B'Sochech.
What are you saying? Alexandria shall Mitzrayim.
Achosi. Yerushalayim is talking to a message from Yerushalayim to my sister Alexandria. My husband, Bali, Shoi B'Sochech. V'ani Yoshev Shomema. My husband is in you, and I'm desolate. Means send back my husband, which he meant to say that Yerushalayim wants Yeshua Prachi to come home. I don't know why it had to be sent in secret. Maybe it was maybe some reason to send a secret message. Omar, so Yeshua Prachi Chap was happening. Omar Shmami no have a shalma. He realized this peace and it's safe to come back. So he wanted to, he was on the way back, going back from Alexandria, going back to Yerushalayim. He also ikla lahu eshpiza. On the way back, he stopped off in an inn. Come Kamayu be Kora Shapir, and the mistress over there, the innkeeper, she was very machabed to Yeshua ben Prachia. This is extra words over here, so we can take it out. The extra gears got doubled over. These words you can take out if you want. It's the same thing over again. After they did a lot of cover thing. Means that's what it says. Come Kamayu be Kora Shapir. They made a very good them. The manuscripts don't have these 4 words, it's extra. Yosef become Shtabeach, Kamala, San Yezu. So Bishon Prach was very, very impressed with the mistress that she was taking such good care of them and honoring them. Tamid Chachamim. Amalei, this Echem Tamid of his censorship, it means Yeshu. Yeshu said he was the Talmud of Bishon Prachia. He said, Rebbe, and that truth is, why are you saying she's so beautiful? It's not so beautiful. Her eyes are not so nice. He said, how beautiful is this innkeeper? He didn't mean beautiful and physical. He meant beautiful, and she's saying she's taking such good care. But he was in where his head was. So he said, "You're beautiful, and she's not so beautiful." So he said, "That's the kind of person you are." Amalei Russia, the Kachat Osek. That's what you engage in. He took 400 shofars and made a cherem on him. Like he's out. He put him on cherem.
I'm sorry. What is true toast?
I don't know exactly, but some kind of something about the eyes. Rashi says, no. Agulos. Rashi says, "I'm second column." Agulos, round eyes, not. So why you say she's beautiful? Her eyes are not beautiful. So he said, "I didn't." He won't be able to. I don't know, but he's not supposed to be holding over there. It reminds me of the story that the Shmuel burned by the smorgasbord. He was waiting for the chuppah, so he went over to somebody. Yeah, Abu Haltman. Where are we holding? He meant like which. So he said pickles, and in his world, as will help me. So he said, "How beautiful is the Achsanya?" So he said, "The eyes are not nice." Means he's holding he's in his world. So Bishon Prach is very upset. That's what you're thinking about. Someone says that it's beautiful in, so you say it means a beautiful woman. So you put him on the
I don't have this.
Where does they put it in here? Oh, well,
You have old Gemara that was censored.
Apik Arbam.
Shipuri B'Shamte. He brought out 400 shofars and he put them in the cherem.
What does that mean?
He put them in the cherem with a shofar. Many shofars. He told us how medium. Put them in
What does
the
that
cherem.
mean?
That's a other Gemara. When they put somebody in the cherem, they blow a shofar. They put somebody in the cherem.
So 400 is showing that they did too much.
Why, I don't know if part of it is Allah putting him in, but it doesn't say exactly what he did too much, but he pushed him away too strong.
Okay,
Kol Yom Asal Kamei. This now says every day used to come to try to get him to accept him. Every day he came, Yeshu came in front of him, Shub and Prachi, every day to be accepted. But he still didn't accept him. Yom Echad have a Kol Yeshma. One day Shub and Prachi was Yeshma, Asal Kamei, and again he wanted to ask him to accept him. And but really, he did mean at that time, he told us he really the Jew was going to accept him already. But he was of Kriyashma. They say motion with his hand, like, but he got the wrong message. He didn't understand the message, and he thought that I don't want to see it. He thought he pushed him away. Now it could be that the taina is just that was misunderstood. That really he didn't mean to push him away. At that point, he was going to accept him, but he took it as if he pushed him away, like I don't have anything to do with you. So then he left. Then he took a brick and he served it. Like he did about the Zohar. Pick up a brick and he bowed down to it. He did serve about the Zohar. Now the story sounds from the next couple of lines like this wasn't right away, but eventually he came to him to ask him to tell him to do tshuva. He said once I caused others to do sins, they're not going to accept me for tshuva anymore. Yeshu says.
It's the line of all of these that people who fall out badly, they always seem to say I can't do tshuva. The same thing as Elisha Dawid. He also said,
what did Yeshu do? He did Yeshu, he did sorcery, and he was a basis of Mediach. He caused people to do Avodah Zarah on an individual level, on a public level, and he caused Am Yisrael to do all that Avodah Zarah. So it seems it wasn't right away on the same spot. Then he just did one Avodah Zarah himself. But it seems that he came back after a long time. He said it was too late. These three things, even if you have to push away, but don't push it away with two hands, keep the right hand still bringing it back. Yetzer hara, that the person is supposed to overcome his Yetzer hara, but don't push it away in a way that he doesn't use the Yetzer hara. You have to have control over the Yetzer hara, but you have to use it for the right way. The person has to have relations, the person has to eat, so he shouldn't push away the Yetzer hara in a way that he kills him. And Tino, a child, even if you have to punish a child, don't push him away with both hands, still show him kirva. And Isha, a wife. So we're supposed to push away a wife with the left hand. What is that all about? So after seeing this Gemara, I think that it doesn't say here that you're supposed to push away with the left hand. It's saying even if you push away with the left hand, always keep the right hand closer. Always keep them, pull them close. So even if whatever is going to be a fight, whatever the reason was that he's pushing away, but it's not saying that the right way is to be a little bit on the left, push away with the left. It doesn't say that over here. It just says that even if you're going to be pushing away with the left, you still should be close with the right.
For example, someone says the wife asks you to buy a jewelry we can't afford. Don't say no. Say when we have money, we'll buy it, whatever.
Okay, it means even if you have to decline,
do it in a nice
that's
way.
in a way that there still should be kirva. That's a very idle case, but that means even if you're pushing away, even if there's a small docha, I would think that it means not that saying that you're supposed to. You're finding a case where you're supposed to push away, but still you should still have a handle on it, be able to pull back closer. But I'm saying that it doesn't say that. Maybe it does says that even if when a person pushes away, he should still make sure that he should be able to. It doesn't say here a hora'ah. It's not saying push away with the left hand. Look at it. I think it does says even if you push away with the left hand.
Example.
He has bad midas and he's pushing away his wife for some reason. They got in a fight. But don't push away too much. Like it says before, all these cases, don't push away too much. Even if you have to push, even if you are pushing away, not if you have to, not a mitzvah. It could be a case, I'm not saying, but even if you're pushing away, but don't push away too strong, make that they should be able to come back.
The one just said it's about everybody, not only about these three.
About Ovi
You're pushing
Avera.
anybody.
Till now was Ovi Avera. The two cases we have so far is Ovi Avera, the Gechazi and Yeshu. Here's not talking about Ovi Avera. So it means besides what we said, they small docham yimim mekareves. But la'olam, what does it say before? La'olam say small docham yimim mekareves. That's like la'olam. And here it says three. Solos. You're right. Before it says a general thing of the Elchos one Avera before, and here it's talking about Yachas that he should not be too pushing away.
Elisha said that someone who causes people to sin.
In the speaking about the last Shuvah, and that's true. It's a truism.
That's a truism.
We say it also. Is it going to find? It's found in Pirkei Avos probably. Is it not?
I don't know.
Let's look it up. I even say.
I thought maybe he was just saying how wrong is to get people to.
To sin, yeah, for sure. Get people to sin is a terrible.
Well, I mean, if that's a truism, then why should he try to? Then why should he try to do tshuva?
I once heard a chat that in speaking, they don't help him, but if he pushes on his way, he pushes all the way, then he will be mitzvah. Usually if
Yeah,
someone
well-
does tshuva, Hashem helps you.
You can continue, but I have to go.
What is that?
You can continue, but I have to.
It's later at 12:20. I didn't realize.
Usually a person wants to do tshuva, Hashem helps them. So someone's machnias rabbin, he doesn't get that assistance, but if he tries enough without assistance, he could still do tshuva.
Here it is. There's a Mishnah.
I heard that from a Chaim Clark.
A Mishnah in Avos Perek Hey Mishnah Yitches. Told him Zakas Rabbi Minchet Bal Yodo Kalam. So it's a truism. It's not like it was wrong. It is true. And it says about Yerubim Nevat Char Tibet Sarabim, Chet Rabim Tolid.
I see. Here,
The word I'm speaking means that they're not going to give him the opportunity to. That's what the words mean.
I see, like what Rav Kreisworth is saying.
I think I heard it from him, I think.
They won't get the heavenly assistance, they would.
Maybe not, maybe I heard from someone else. I'll take it back, maybe.
Let's try the Rambam. I think it's in the Rambam. Also,
What does Misatkim mean?
to supply.
They supply, it won't be
Supply to him.
supplied
He
in his
won't have
hand
that.
to do tshuva,
Right.
but still they can do tshuva, apparently.
Yeah, let's see what the hell, anything.
But doesn't it also mean, doesn't,
hear you,
once
Rabbi.
it fights him in court, and he won't have enough court to pull it through, maybe.
But the excuse, right? Some,
Since it's such a big sin, Hashem's not going to give him an opportunity to do tshuva. Ve'eluhen, amachti es harabim. So it's the Rambam also.
but he's using the slang.
Here it says, "Anolim darkit tshuva b'fnei Hossein," that it closes the doors of tshuva. A little different. Before it says they don't give him the opportunity. The doors. Also, he can't do tshuva. It's between him and the. Then there are others in Cheskasa Loshav Mehen, because it's so light in his eyes, he's probably not going to do tshuva. You must. Some of them, they're so hard. It's very difficult to stop. To get so engrossed in those affairs, it's very hard for him. Here's the Rambam you wanted. Even know what all these things, even though we said all these things, if a person does tshuva, he's a Baal tshuva and he's going to get a chelik and olam haba. Whatever it
Yeah,
means,
that's Rambam.
that's Rambam's end after the 20.
Can't do tshuva.
Can't do tshuva,
But if you do,
It means that
And
needs
you're about
explanation, but he says yesh l'chelik olam.
so
Elam
these are
asu adam
these-
tshuva mehen.
these- they were excused. And apparently Alicia.
The Rambam says more or less.
Yeah, it could be what you're saying, that Ema speaking, Hashem usually gives a person a lot of opportunities to do tshuva. Here he's gonna have to look on his own.
That's the word problem. Okay. That's your call, everybody.
Same.
41 years ago.
The old Gemara.
I have my-